My colleague, Michael Leong, is the author of 2 books of poetry, ESP and Cutting Time with a Knife, which won a Face-Out grant from the Council of Literary Magazines and Presses. His work has been anthologized in the and Now Awards to the Best Innovative Writing. He reviews books for Hyperallergic Weekend.
Thank you, Michael. Oh yeah, I need that. Can you guys hear me? Great. Thank you all for being here. I'm just going to read 2 pieces. Since it's National Poetry Month, I figure it would be appropriate to read a poem about poetry. This is titled, appropriately enough, Poem. It's in 21 sections. But don't worry, they're very short sections. Poem. 1. Before reading this poem, rise and go out into the streets. Then go back inside, making sure to leave the door ajar. 2. Before reading this poem, say, strange, these aren't the parts I ordered. Say it again in a different way. 3. Window shop before reading this poem. Study the second hand of a second-hand clock. 4. Get an enema before reading this poem, but only if you want to. 5. Before reading this poem, smear the page with a layer of lard. Then hold it up to the light. 6. Before reading this poem, go for a day without saying the word I, the word you, the word poem. 7. Before reading this poem, write one yourself. Try to make it better than this. 8. Hold your breath before reading this poem. Don't let it out till the end. 9. Before reading this poem, tie your right arm to the chair. 10. Before reading this poem, tie your left arm to the table. 11. Before reading this poem, have your neighbor read it and paraphrase it for you. Type up a transcript and title it Poem. Commit it to memory. Back it up on disk. 12. Before reading this poem, dust it for prints. Handle it gingerly with pincers. 13. Stand before a mirror before reading this poem. Perform sets of deep knee bends without laughing. 14. Try to trade it. 15. Before reading this poem, think of everything else you could be doing. Type up the list and title it Poem. 16. Before reading this poem, listen. Can you hear the words becoming vestigial? 17. Ante up before reading this poem. Stagger your thoughts accordingly. 18. Before reading this poem, pick an understudy, call in sick, take a vow of silence. 19. Expect the best before reading this poem. Feign disappointment when it's done. 20. Before reading this poem, read another poem. Read another and another. Then tell me what you think the difference is. 21. Before reading this poem, preheat your oven, but don't expect the poem to feed you. This is called Cat Calls from an Imaginary City, and the epigraph is, it was said to a woman that was in one of my workshops when I was a graduate student, an MFA student, so when she told me the story, I wanted to steal it. I'll drink your bathwater, man on street, the passing woman, New York City. I'll buy you a dress made of loose ends and infinitives. I'll ask you politely about proper conjugation. I'll break your abacus, but I'll repair your sextant. I'll clean your whisper dish and always respect the orientation of your compass. I'll anoint your eyes with azure. I'll disinter the air you intaglio. I'll drench myself in your incipience. I'll wait in the depths of your dormancy. I'll knot the threads of your dress into miniature nooses and decipher the hermetic impressions of your shoes. I'll co-author an apocryphal version of your autobiography. I'll develop a penchant for the way you say city. I'll grovel in the magnetic grottos of your voice. I'll trace the perfect curves of your every caesura. I'll shrink-wrap your secrets and sentence them to death by hanging. I'll hold seances for your former incarnations, and when they come, I'll kiss each one of them, not just the pretty ones, on the crown of the head. I'll spy on you through the singing tines of a tuning fork. I'll list for you all of the synonyms for the word euphony and make them up if too little exist. To the best of my ability, I'll help you stanch time's unwinding tourniquet. I'll steal the fortunes from your cookies so I can rewrite their sequels and make ornate constellations out of the crumbs. In the back of my diary, I'll write your middle name in majuscules and hide forever in the attics of the capital A's. I'll cling desperately to your breath's clefted brevity, cleave to your tectonic touch. I'll make you a Venn diagram that assumes sets A and B are identical. I'll unclog your drain using micropolymer technology. I'll translate your poems into 100 forgotten languages and stitch the ones you haven't yet written to the insides of my pockets. Thank you.